Hi everyone, it's Justine here from House of Mahalo. Thanks so much for joining me for another Sort It Out Saturday. So today is going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge of things. For the most part though, I want to focus on fabric scraps and lace trims because I do have an idea for what I'm going to do with those. So I'll just I filmed this video in parts. So I'm going to have to join them all together and I'm hoping it will work out all right for you. So if it seems a little bit, mix match and all over the place, then it's because it is, because I was diving all around the room until eventually deciding, let's just focus on one topic. So it's fabric scraps, laces, trims, things like that. But there will be a little bit of extra bits in there, just as like more of a behind the scenes, I suppose. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll just take you through the clips now, and I'll catch you at the end. So I'm going to be tackling this area. This is what I see when I come into my craft room. Some of the stuff there shouldn't be there anyway, and I'm actually going to replace this chest of drawers because I've got something new, which I'll show you in a second. This is what I've got. It's essentially a craft trolley, but it's two sides, 3 large drawers and 6 small drawers. And then I'm going to have my die cutting machine on the top, as well as something next to it. I'm not sure what yet, but not too much, just something decorative maybe. And yeah, I'm going to use all of these drawers now to keep, I want to have a drawer for like projects. So projects I'm currently working on. So at the moment I'm working on the Flower Fairies journals, and it would be nice to be able to just pop them in there so that they're not on my desk, because at the moment they're just sitting on my desk ready to be worked on, but I don't do crafting every day, so I'd like that. And then on here, I'm thinking the top drawer will be die cuts and like dies and embossing folders, and then we can start looking into having a drawer for tools and so forth. So I'm hoping this will help me organise several areas of my craft room, including the drawer that I've got in my desk, which is pretty messy. The other job that I'd like to do today is to make this more of a decorative cubby, and I have a couple of ideas as to what that would look like. Okay, that's what I ended up with, and I've just put the glue books in the cupboard underneath. So we've got nice things on display and ugly things behind closed doors. And this is actually where I keep my rose petals for when I make specimen cards. So that's just a little insight in for you there. And I've also got these stacked boxes just here, which, to be honest, I don't like that they're stacked, and I'll show you why. So I've got these like suitcase type boxes, which I thought would be really cute to have stacked up, partly for how they look. But to be honest, it's not practical for what I've got in them. So I have this small one which just has tags, which a lot of these were gifted to me. Some that I have bought, but most of them were gifted, and they're just, plain tags. I don't think they need a box on their own. And then, and you'll see why it's a problem that they're stacked, we have lace in these two. So I've got, lace and ribbons, to be honest. So I've got my more like creamy neutral ones in here, and we've got colours in here. They need a sort out as well. I think I've already decluttered them in the past, so I think I'm mostly good there. The difference is that I can't, everything's just jumbled up. And to be honest, I don't want several boxes of lace. I don't think I need that much because I don't craft often enough. So I would like to consolidate these into one place. And I don't know, as I say, having them stacked is not a good idea for me because I use lace in a lot of different projects. So what it means is that in order to get into these, I have to lift one box or lift 2 boxes and put them back, and it's a right faff. So I'm going to come up with a new plan for these. Okay, so laces and ribbons. As I say, I would like to consolidate these into either one box or one container. and I definitely want them more organised than this. So what I started doing a long time ago, and I'm wondering how well this would work, is remember those tags I said I had about 100 of? Well, I started using them to wrap my laces and things around because I knew I wouldn't get through that many. And my idea was for when I come to the end of a thingy, so for example in this case, say I've used up all of this brown lace, the idea then was I had a tag that I would repurpose. So I kind of feel like maybe that would be, in a way, just with the tags that I have like 100 of, I suppose that would help me to almost kill two birds with one stone and have, you know, I'd be storing the tags technically at the same time as storing the laces. Do you think that makes sense? I mean, I was thinking about storing the laces on some cardboard like I did with the fabric, because I found that that fabric storage really, really helpful. I could organise by colour, I could just pull things out. Now I'm thinking about using one of my drawers from the new unit that I showed you, because I use lace a lot, so I definitely want it to hand quickly and easily. Especially, you know, eyelash trim, ribbon, lace, I use those things often. So I want to see, I've got some ribbons already on tags. Now I didn't do it correctly in the first place, I used sellotape, but I now know to use pins. So I'm just going to see what it would be like if I were to put these in the drawer, and you know how that would be, what that would be like before I start wrapping everything and then, you know, change my mind. Well, it looks like they would fit if I were to do it like that. So yeah, maybe I'll do it that way. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so this is how we're looking at the moment. So I have wound all of my ribbons and laces onto those tags I showed you, and I've kind of got them arranged in colour order, just here. So this is a lace trim and ribbon trim, and they fit really nicely in there. I've got my eyelash trims and my gold leaf trim on spools that they came on actually, so that's those. I've got my boho trims there, which I had to use some Amazon packaging. These were offcuts from when I was doing the fabric video, for some of the others. So my like boho trims, I had, you know, they became quite bulky on these things, quite heavy and bulky. So the tags didn't quite work for those. And likewise my vintage lace, I have quite a lot of it. So these I've put on those, something like this, which does work quite well. Although, you know, they're too tall to stack upright, I don't mind having them just here. So, although as you can see I'm struggling with it, so it might not be a long-term solution, but it's better. You know, I can pull out, I can see exactly which ones I've got to choose from like this. So I might change it up. You know, I would like them stacked. It's just that these drawers are not the most deep ones. So, you know, but as it stands, I think we're doing okay. And then this is like one of my favourite laces, which I always use in like every project. I have 5 bundles of this, and here's 2 of them. I'm not sure where the other 3 have gone. And they sort of just, yeah, fit nicely there. And I'm happy for those to just be loose like so. I don't think that's a problem. Same with the Hessian type trims. Again, I may change my mind later. In fact, I'm actually going to put that there. So that is how that is. I think that's much better. But I have 2 questions now about what to do with some other bits and bobs. So the first question I have is, what do I do with pieces that are larger than scraps, but they're not like full pieces, or, you know, there's just like, you know, 10 centimeters of something. Now, obviously these are, you know, I wouldn't put this with fabric scraps because they're not tiny. I'm not quite sure what to do with these just yet. So I need to have a little bit of a think. I mean, this one isn't even a trim, this is more just a very wide lace. Which brings me on to the next question that I have, which is, I've got lots of these now. So I've got lots of, these are obviously, I would call these fabric, but to be honest, I don't want to put these with the fabric box because I would see these as, I wouldn't make covers from these. I would more use these in fabric flips or embellishments, just ad hoc. So, my fabric box is fine for storing cottons and things because, I'll go in there for, here and there. I won't go in there often. These ones I would like to use more often. So I'm a bit stuck as to how I store these and, like I say, the larger scraps. So I am going to have a little bit of a think. Okay, so I thought I would use this suitcase box that I showed you earlier to pop in. This is now going to be the home for my decorative fabrics, I suppose, is how I'm referring to this. So these are not necessarily journal covers, but there'll be things that I'll cut into for pages or for embellishments on covers. So I've also got things like this where, I made a cover where I used some of this on the front of it. Stuff like that. And look, there's space. So I've done the same thing as I did with the fabrics and the laces. I've just simply used some cardboard, just wrapped the fabric around and popped a pin in. And so now straight away I can see all of these gorgeous fabrics that I've got. And I'm going to pop this on my shelf. So this is where I'm going to keep this box. I'm thinking about using another one of these boxes. I've got one more, and I'm thinking that might fit. I might fit one there. This is my scrapbook papers, and obviously you've seen these before, papers and project folders. That one needs a tidy up. And then I'm thinking if I get another one of these, I could potentially have a couple of these next to each other in there. So I just drag out the box and then grab the one that I want. That's what I'm thinking. Whether it works out like that, I'm not sure. But for now, at least it's off the floor. Because initially I had it where this box is and I couldn't pull this this project folder out. So I definitely need to figure that out as well. What's in this one? Yes, this is some finished pieces of ephemera, which they're on their own because I'm thinking about using these in Happy Mail type situations. But for now, I think I'm going to put the box on the shelf as well. Okay, so I've managed to fit those in. If I do go with this idea, putting that there, then I think I might need to change this box. And to be honest, I'm not convinced I need such a big box for ephemera anyway. Okay, I think that might be better. Is that better? I'm not sure. It looks nicer. Whether it's better, I'm not convinced. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that until I decide about this, which will come later. I think I found a home for the guillotine as well. Now that those boxes are gone, ignore the floor. This part of the room has not had a hoover for a while. I've now got this. And I can just pull that out. And that's a little bit better than it being, just in the middle of the floor. I don't know if it will stay like that, but I'm going to go with it for now because I can reach it from my chair, which is useful. So we shall see. So I think whilst we're on the subject of laces and trims and ribbons and things, we should probably have a look at fabric scraps. So as I mentioned, I've got a system I had a system for my fabric scraps, but I've been keeping them in this bag so that I could see when it was getting too full and then I would, organise the project. Since sorting out my paper scraps last time, I found lots more fabric scraps, as you know. So what I've done is this bag now, I've just got neutral scraps in here. Now there is a lot there, so I could definitely make some projects with these, and I will talk about that in a second. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this. If I've got all of my neutrals in one place, then I know where I can grab you know, I use neutrals for like fabric clusters and snippet rolls and things. So I know that I can just grab from this bag now. And I think actually it's fat enough to go in a drawer somewhere. So I think that's okay for now. But as I say, I don't want it to be bigger than that, so I will do some some scrap busting again. But I've got all of these coloured scraps, which, I mean, there's all sorts of mixed things in here. And I sort of didn't really know what to do with these. I think my first job is to go through them and sort through what scraps I will actually use. I'm sure there's like tiny little bits in here that's probably not worth keeping, or I've perhaps got colours in here which I no longer use, and so therefore I will, you know, think about packaging them up for an eBay bundle, I don't know, something like that. It depends what I can pull out of here. And so then I'll be just left with scraps that I actually plan on using. That's my sort of, that's what I need to do. Now I've got this, it was a sweet jar. And I've seen a few pins on Pinterest of people keeping their fabric scraps in clear jars and having them stored so that they're easy to grab and they can just see what they've got and such like. I'm going to give it a go. I don't know if I'm going to love it, but I'm going to give it a go. I can always put the jar in a cupboard if needs be. It's better than storing this great big expanding bag, which I suppose the point of the jar is so that, you know, your fabric scraps can't expand past this size, right? So yeah, that makes sense. So I will give it a go with the colours and I'll show you in a second how that all looks. But I just, whilst I was here, I just wanted to share a few tips with you. Some of you lovely ladies kindly gave me some advice on my last video about fabric scraps, and I wanted to share them with everyone in case you were wondering about what to do with your scraps. So one of the ladies was talking about, well, actually a couple of you have mentioned snippet rolls, which I have done a video on snippet rolls recently. Now this is one I made a while back using some of my pink and purple scraps. And then a couple of you mentioned about how to store snippet rolls. One of you said to wind it around bobbins that you can then store for future use. I love that idea, I just don't have any spare bobbins. And I don't want to go out and buy anything just yet, but that's definitely a lovely idea. So one to bear in mind if you've got something like that lying around. And then another of you said about hanging up laces and trims and things, which again, I like the idea of. And I actually thought we could hang up our snippet rolls. So again, that, you know, they're easy to grab. We know that they're there, similar to the cluster sheets, I suppose. And then, you know, it's a kind of a decorative element, I guess. So what I've done with this one is I've just threaded through a safety pin upside down so that I've got a little loop on the top here. And then that could then be hooked onto a hook, maybe. And then, you know, just hang up somewhere near my desk. So that I can look at it. I mean, this one's not finished, it's like part done, but I definitely need to add more to it. So I'm wondering whether that might be an option for me, is to hang them up. So I will revisit that once I've made up some more snippet rolls. But I just wanted to share some ideas of what you lovely ladies said in my last video about things that you could do with fabric scraps. So fabric ruffles, definitely. Patchwork journal covers, patchwork journal tags, 100%, I'm with you on the patchwork. Talked about snippet rolls. Make cushions and use as fillings. Well, that's a great idea if you've got scraps that you are not actually going to use, which I probably do. So, you know, that could be something I could think about. And to make fabric flips. So I normally make my fabric flips with like larger pieces of material, but I think the idea here is to use your smaller scraps, say 3 to 5 scraps, I guess, and then, you know, by the time you've put them all together, that probably gives you a good sized flip. So those are just some ideas, but for now, obviously I want to focus on storing stuff. So as I say, I'm going to try and store my snippet rolls on hooks, just to see how that works for me, because I actually had this in the bag of fabric scraps and it was getting all like messed up. You know, this flower was ripping and it was like all scrunched up like this. Whereas actually I think maybe hanging it up might be a good option for me, but I do like the bobbin idea as well. So shall we give this jar idea a go? So I'm going to hit pause whilst I sort through this lot, because I've probably got stuff in here that I don't need to keep in the jar. I really want this to be small scraps, I suppose. So I'll give that a go and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so that's how that turned out. I don't mind it. I don't know if I will have it on display or whatnot, but I don't want to hide it too far away, because actually, yes, I can see what I've got in here. You know, even though things are on top of each other, I can see, you know, I've got some green, I've got some pink, more green, blue, and all the rest of it. So yeah, I don't mind that. And I think it means that I won't have much more coloured scraps than this. So yeah, maybe this is something to think about. Obviously this is the only jar that I've got. So I might want to think about either buying some jars or getting some more sweets and reusing the jar afterwards. So that's that. So these are what I consider coloured scraps, which are small enough to make clusters with, I suppose, like, you know, the small pieces. I did pull out of the, you know, the scrap bag, longer pieces like this, which would make really good ruffles, I think. So I've pulled them out. I didn't want to put them in there, A, because there's not enough room, but also because I thought, you know, straight away I could just put these in my sewing pile. So I've got this little woven basket that I keep on top of my sewing box, which is right next to my sewing machine. And this is what I have, you know, things to sew around and just generally sew. Because if I'm at the sewing machine, unless I'm doing a big job, that means I'll just grab from here and just do a couple of pieces and then they're done. So I'm thinking if I put the ruffle type ones in here, then the next time I'm at the sewing machine, I might actually, you know, sit down to do it. So if I do that, it's all contained. You know, it's not overflowing, so that's okay for now. Now this piece, I'm not sure what to do with. I suppose I could make ruffles with this. It's quite a nice sort of mermaidy green. It's got a nice shine to it. So I'll put that in there. It's quite a big piece, so I can make a lot of ruffles with that, but I think it's better than it just sitting around, isn't it? So there you go. That's my sewing to be sewn. I just thought I would show you. So obviously my sewing machine is here. This is where I keep the sewing box and my sewing basket. So, you know, when I'm sitting at my sewing machine, I just reach for that basket and just, you know, when I can, I just pull a few things out of there and just get them sewn whilst I'm sitting at the machine. I just thought I would quickly show you as well. So this is the drawer where I was sorting out my, you know, laces and trims and things. Now in the scrap pile, I did have some loose bits of ribbon, which I would use for tag toppers. I didn't want to put them in the jar because actually these are for a specific purpose. So what I'm going to get is a little like organza bag and just pop those in there, and then that would keep them nice and tidy. So I suppose I should probably find a place to keep this. I mean, it's not very big. I'd probably just put it in a cupboard or something. Is that a bad idea? Would I ignore it? I'm not sure. I'll see how it goes with this. I'm not going to rush out to buy more jars because I just want to see how I do with this. Because it might get annoying, you know, if I want this piece, I have to pull everything out to get it. But I just couldn't think of a better way to store the tiny little scraps. So, you know, that's that. I think that's pretty much everything for today. So obviously we've done the laces and the trims, we've done the fabric scraps. I've shown you how I intend on storing my snippet rolls, because I have got a couple of other snippet rolls, which, believe it or not, I don't know where they are, which is, you know, that's saying something, isn't it, for me hanging them up. So that's that. I need to find a home for this. As I say, I probably just want it to go in a drawer. And then, yeah, I probably want to do a bit of scrap busting to get this down. So I suppose we should think about what kind of crafty project we could do. So we could make snippet rolls. I've already done that on camera, so I don't know. I'll definitely do the ruffles. I'm wondering if I should maybe do... Oh, I tell you what I did want to do, actually. So when I was sorting through the laces and things, I had, do you remember me saying I had lots of like shorter pieces, which I didn't really feel the need to store as, you know, on cards or anything because they were a bit too short. So I actually went ahead and I did this the other day. I wondered whether I could put some of them on some book page or music sheet, and then these could be snippets of some kind as well, actually. So I thought maybe that might be something we could do. I have done one of these recently for my fairy journal, but I've got a whole different sort of set here which we might be able to add some things to. So maybe we could do that, because I'm actually filming this on Wednesday. Saturday is only a few days away, so I don't know if I'll have time to do everything before then. I would have liked to have done similar to what I did with my paper scraps video, where I showed you a whole different bunch of things. I think I'm not sure if I will get time to do everything before Saturday. So I think we'll make this the video for Saturday, do these together. I've already shown you the idea for hanging up snippet rolls with the upside down safety pin. So when we come to do the final video in this series, I will of course show you what that looks like in case it's something that you might want to consider. So really, I mean, we're back to these ideas. Patchwork journal cover. I could definitely do that. I think with patchwork, I like it to be, either it's going to be very boho and eclectic, or I would want it of one sort of tone, like all in blue or blue and green together or something, which I'm not sure. I have to have a think about that one. I still think it's a good idea. I just don't know if my scraps, now that I've actually seen them in a jar, I don't know. And then of course we can talk about snippet rolls, which I have already done on camera, so you probably don't really want to see that again anyway. So yeah, I think for the next video what I'll do is I'll start with an intro, just remind you of these ideas. I might make up a big sheet again and put it on the blog like I did before, where I'll just jot down some ideas of what you could do with your, laces and fabric scraps and things. And, I'll remind you of ways to, hang them up or wind them around bobbins or things like that. So I'll do that. And then I think in the video we will do some, I don't know what to call them. They're like snippet strips, I suppose, where I have done one recently. Let me see if I can find it and just show you. This is what I mean by a snippet strip, where, you've got a backing sort of lace or fabric or something, and then you've got all these little pieces, and it's a good way to get through your little embellishments and ephemera as well. So I wonder whether we could actually hang one of those from the safety pin as well. Because again, I don't want to store this. I don't have a good enough storage system for this to lie flat anywhere, and I would just end up forgetting about it, I think. So what am I doing? I want to go this way. So if I go like that, there we go. If I go from the back, I'll just show you what I meant by the safety pin, and then I can just hang it up like that from this little loop. I mean, that could be an option, couldn't it? And because it's fabric, you're not going to see that hole by the time we come to use it, just as long as you're not going through paper or something. Or you could always add something to it to help you hang it up. But yeah, I think I'll go with that sort of idea for these types of things. And yeah, we'll just make some up because I've been meaning to do this anyway. So I think that's what we'll do. So I hope this video was okay. I filmed it in parts, so I'm hoping I'll be able to join it all together for you and have it be another interesting, eclectic video, but we'll see. As always, thanks ever so much for joining me. Thank you again for all of your ideas and tips and suggestions that you've shared with me. And I'll see you on the next video, which will be later today, where we'll do some of these together. And as I say, I'll just be hanging them up. I'm thinking I might get a pegboard in the corner of my room, because I've got a big empty space next to my sewing machine. Actually, I've just got empty wall space, and I could have corner shelves or something, but I'm thinking a pegboard might be handy, and then I could just have a bunch of things hanging up, because I wanted to hang up my paper collage sheets anyway. So that's something to think about, I think. So I hope you've gotten some tips and ideas from today's video. If not, then hopefully you just enjoyed seeing my scraps everywhere. As always, I will see you on the next video, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye bye for now.